Welcome back.
Howdy.
This game that we're going to be talking about is very unique. I'm going to make the comparison to action RPGs like Destiny and even kind of like Diablo.
A little bit.
So this game is called Nova.
Very new. Came from Kickstarter. The PDF just got released either last week or the week before, and so we're going to make a video on it because we think it's really cool.
Yeah, the game is very unique. Designed by Spencer Campbell, uses the Lumen system. It's a very simple, straightforward D6 system that basically focus on 3 stats and very easy to understand pass-fail system. 1 to 2 failure, 3 to 4 success with consequence, 5 to 6 basically critical win.
Yeah. It's
So
really simple.
It is. The play loop in this game is very easy to understand. I'm gonna make the comparison to kind of, I guess I would say Lancer, because it's got the same kind of play style. So you've got your mission is this whole overall encompassing, I guess I would say, like small adventure. And then within that, you've got your briefing, which is going to describe what the mission is going to be for the players. Then you've got your deployment. Players go in, kick ass, and come back with maybe some sweet, sweet loot. And then you've got your debriefing, which is basically what has changed and the consequences of either that, I guess, winning of the mission or the failure.
Yeah, a couple small differences. There's not really any tactical combat in this. It's more theater. And instead of loot, it's more upgrading the city that you start in.
So the cities will upgrade kind of like depending on how you have your, I don't want to say campaign, but I guess kind of campaign set up. And the loot that you get is worded after every mission, mods that you start to unlock.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the setting. What's going on here?
Well, in the future, the sun explodes.
That's
and the lights go out and everything goes dark. So we go underground for a while. A few of us survive. And eventually, after a while, we start to creep out a little bit, see if it's okay on the surface. And it's not. Everything's just, it's ruins everywhere. But we find that there's some light in places. We start finding shards of the sun that have landed on Earth and made these safe zones, kind of.
Yeah, so the cities in the game are basically centered around kind of like these
civilization rebuilt around the shards.
Sunwells is what they're called. What makes these things very special is they have a near limitless supply of energy. From this, it basically kind of, anytime, like you think science-wise, right? Things catapult once you get a new form of energy.
We went way back, and then we went,
way
far forward.
And then you get these super dope things that we start to build called sparks, so we can go explore the Dusk.
Nobody really knows where some of them come from. Sometimes they just kind of show up. Nobody claims them, but they're very unique. They're very special, techno, science, magic.
Yeah.
Some organics a little bit. Like, they're really cool.
These mechs themselves, and we'll get those in a little bit, it's going to kind of fall into the character creation that we're going to be talking about after the skills. So, harping back to what the system is, the Lumen system, this game has 3 attributes. You've got your sun, your moon, and your shade. So sun is going to be your powerful, destructive, sweeping action. So think things like strength, but also forcing things to happen.
And your moon is your fast stuff. He wasn't ready.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah, reaction, all that good stuff. Agility checks. And then you've got your shade, which is your sneaky, creeping around, taking your time and working on things at a very slow practice pace. So how you spec out your character when you start developing them, you're going to start with 1 skill point each, essentially. Then you're given 4 to distribute however you want into the said stats or attributes. You're going to want to pay attention to when you're picking out your spark, because your spark, you can really kind of min-max into some of the abilities and what's good for it. So you may want to take, more sun because I want to hit harder and stuff like that. And if you look at the character sheets, the sparks, you will know which ones kind of do.
Usually some of the mods are even an upgrade. Hey, upgrade your sun, and that's all the upgrades for that are.
Yeah, you get a straight flat bonus to it, which
it's
is
really cool.
So, what makes this game super dope and super fun is the sparks you get.
They're really cool. They might remind me a lot of like Darkest Dungeon characters.
That's a pretty good.
As far as specializations, like this dude is nothing but backline. This dude's very much frontline. This dude kind of mixes it up. This dude's all about dots and that kind of stuff.
I make the comparison to Anthem because the whole video game fast action thing, there's a lot more that you get literally just based purely off the total of 9 that you can choose from.
Yeah.
But like in Anthem, the 3 different mechs, you've got your tank guy, you've got your fast guy, you've got
Right.
your middle of the road guy kind of thing.
Your flying guy.
Exactly. So like we were talking about, these sparks will, I guess, excel in certain things.
Yeah.
For example, you've got Pyre. He's basically going to be heavily focused on fire and single damage to targets.
Yeah.
Then you've got Drifter, which is like your gunslinger, play from the back, shoot and move.
Grimm's the necromancer. Bring up the dead, make them work for you a little bit. Not too sure about that one. The other one that we got is Sanguine. It's the blood magic.
Yep. Support and damage, health.
Which one's your favorite out of all of them?
It's Sanguine.
Sanguine.
Yeah, it's probably either Sanguine or I think Grimm's really interesting because you can we'll talk about the ults here in a bit, but
I like Pox a lot.
the poison guy.
And Eternal.
Eternal's dope.
Yeah.
Their ult's gnarly, dude. Drag him to hell.
Yeah,
That one's
fun.
cool.
They're fun.
That one's way cool. So within these two in the character creation, after you pick your spark, that's the word I'm looking for. You then will move into picking flare. Flares are the mods that we had mentioned before.
Yeah.
You're going to start off picking 2. And as missions complete, you'll unlock 1, and that's
Each
kind of how
mission
progression
gives
works.
One, that's your standard progression.
Yep, because there's no leveling. It's basically mod progression, I guess,
Yeah.
is kind of the closest
The
way I
big
would
one
put
that the book alludes to, and in the GM it says really focus on this in that part of it. It says upgrading the city, to be
and becoming a
fully
bigger
sustainable
exactly.
and pulling more cities in and making civilization again rekindled.
They actually make it a point too in the Nova book to even go as far as to say if you can get away with not giving like the physical reward of like a mod to go that way, which is really really cool. So the other thing that makes this super rad is you have your ults.
Very strong.
Very very strong.
Very
These are
unique.
These are the abilities that your spark is going to have, which would be your super or anything that you kind of use that terminology for. But because your sparks don't die unless
there is a very strong caveat in the book where they say, well, listen, man, they can die, but everybody at the table needs to agree to it. And it needs to happen very rarely because it's not supposed to happen to begin with.
Impact.
And it needs to have huge impact. With that out of the way, sparks don't die.
Right. And when you hit that 0 health number, you cast this ability. So one of them that's super, super cool is you've got one from Scorched, which is called Glory and Flame. All enemies take damage equal to your sun ability point.
Which could be huge. It could be, 5, 6. With most enemies, that's about all they have stat-wise.
Yeah. And then it gets better because then it turns around and heals your allies equal to your shade.
Which is great. Even if it only does 3, that your sun's leading at 3, you just started, and in the first fight, you go down. Well, guess what? All the enemies in that first fight are more than likely close to dead, if not just dead at that point. All your dudes are back to close to full health. Like, it's a huge swing.
Because your characters already start out with such low HP because you start out with 2.
Right.
And then you kind of just tick up as you go, which is kind of cool. That's a big deal. And I think it's also worth noting too that the health that you can drop after a combat scenario and even the fuel, which is used to basically let you use your powers, you're going to probably be using these more than just like I walk up and punch or I walk up and kick.
Oh yeah. Tell them about the Warden one. Tell them about Earthquake.
So Warden, he's basically your big tanky dude, and Earthquake can allow you to pick 2 enemies that are out on the field, and then you are going to basically cause this shockwave throughout the ground, and they're going to get hit for damage equal to your sun ability.
That's really cool.
But they also get stunned for an entire round too.
Which makes it really strong because you get to pick which 2.
It could be a baddie and you just dead. I feel like just thinking about this, like what if you're in a game, right? Like, all right, I got an idea. We're almost dead, right? All right, I've got an ability, for example, that hurts me, but then I can hurt you. So let's hurt each other and then
blow each other up, and then you over there come res me, and then I'll res him, and then we'll blow you up. And
so we're playing Destiny with chain reses.
With massive explosions on death. Yeah, something like that.
Warlock much? Self-res Warlock?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
This game also does recommend don't add a lot to it as far as adding equipment, adding special actions, things like that. It says that it breaks the game open in a way that it doesn't work anymore if you do very heavily. We haven't had the chance to play with that side of it too much. I'm sure we will at some point just to test it, but...
And I think part of that probably comes from its simplicity a little bit.
Yeah, I have a hard time calling it a role-playing game.
As do I. It reminds me very much of, that's why I made the comparison earlier on, more of a quick action video game kind of thing. Well, almost like just like a straight board game. You can RP, and the game says that the games like these fast action ones don't usually have a lot of RP.
Right.
So find ways to inject, and that would be like in your downtime. So like the debriefing, running around the city and stuff like that, or engaging with players.
The city's gotten upgrades. Let's spend a little time RPing about it now that we're back from the mission and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could have kind of like the moment where you're talking to Baddie, where I guess you could roll for it if you want to, and make him realize all the wrongdoings they've done for a mission complete. You can do it there.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But I don't know that it really fits in with the game, because the game's
I
very
agree.
much a, hey, let's go beat up the bad guys and take the
Let's
stuff.
go kill the trash mobs. Let's beat up the elites and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The game in and of itself, too, a lot of these Lumen systems that Spencer has put out draw heavy from those style of video games. So that's worth noting. And if this sounds interesting to you, he actually has kind of like what I would say the unofficial Destiny kind of tabletop role-playing game, which is called Light.
It's very,
Yeah.
it's in the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the 3 classes, the whole 9 yards. I'll put the link to that down below.
Yeah, it's one we thought was really cool. We wanted to talk about. There's something coming out on Netflix soon that I want to cover as well in a roundabout way. So that will probably be coming up in a video soon.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's because I'm a weeb. They know.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Those that know.
I'm not on the in crowd. Anyways, till next time. Stay awesome. Be excellent. Later.
We'll see you.
What show was that?
Yep.
Oh, okay.